So just kind of close your mouth softly and then just like look up and smile with your eyes.
Smile. Okay, here I go. Ready?
Ready? Yeah. That's perfect. You're a natural.
Don't tell her.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's the Best Midland Texas Podcast. I'm Ryan Shuchuk. This is my wife, Tara Avery.
Today we have Mackynlie Conklin. She is one half of ModelHaus, the first ever West Texas Academy specializing in modeling and pageantry training.
Mackynlie, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here today. Before we start, like you said, one half of ModelHaus. Let's just give a shout out to your other co-owner out here. She couldn't make it today.
Mm-hmm.
Gladys.
Yes. Shout
out to Gladys. We miss you. Sorry you couldn't make it today. Catch you on the flip-flop. Let's just jump right into the questions. You are a model and a pageant winner and have moved into like the coaching and training side. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can you give us a little bit about your background in modeling and pageantry? How did you get into it?
Yeah, so I actually started pageantry at the age of 16. I started at the Permian Basin Fair and Expo. That was my very first pageant, Junior Miss Permian Basin Fair, and I loved it. Loved being on stage, loved the pretty dresses, makeup, the whole shebang. And I told my mom I wanted to keep doing it. And so I competed for the Miss Permian Basin Teen USA pageant, and I came in dead last. And I told my mom, I said, I want to keep doing this. This is something that I really enjoy. And so I told her that I wanted to find an interview coach and I wanted to get the best dresses, all of the things so that I could win. And then the next year I went back and I was old enough that I could compete in the Miss division for Miss Permian Basin, and I ended up winning.
Nice.
So I was able to go on to Miss Texas USA the next year and compete there. And that was one of the best experiences of my life. But pageantry was also a segue into modeling because growing up, you know, I never really saw anybody around the West Texas area that was really a model. Mm-hmm. You always saw New York, LA, maybe Dallas if you knew some people. But there was nobody here. And in high school, Gladys and I actually went to high school together.
Oh, okay.
And so that's kind of how I knew her. And then we started following each other because of pageantry. But I saw that she was kind of one of the first models in the area, and she really started to connect with local photographers, doing a lot of collabs. And at the time, I was like, I'm jealous of this girl. I want what she has. But then, like, I actually started following her. We got to become friends, and I actually learned a lot from her how to get into modeling with the different local photographers and people around here. And that started around 18. And so it just took off from there. I loved it. And now we own ModelHaus.
So you went to the Permian Basin Fair and entered a pageant. But how did you even decide or know that you could enter a pageant of that sort?
So I actually saw a ad for it online. I was just like, they have pretty crowns and sashes. And I had always thought about doing pageants. That was something that was always in the back of my mind. Because I remember when I was like 6 years old, my mom got this letter in the mail. And it was for a different pageant that was based out of Dallas. And they were inviting me and my mom to go and compete. And so I've always thought about pageants. And I also really wanted to challenge myself. And I was like, I know that I am not the, person who is very brave and bold. And so, because in elementary school, I was bullied a lot. Yeah. And so I always, thought I was not that person that could go up there and be pretty and all that stuff. Competing in that pageant, I was like, I'm just going to try it out. I don't know the people in the crowd. I might as well just get up there and try it. And if I like it, I like it. If I don't, then at least I don't know anybody. I can actually walk off the stage.
And you never have to do it again if you don't like it.
Yeah.
That seems nerve-wracking. So you go from various pageants, pageant winner, congrats, and modeling. And then just over a year ago, you and Gladys decided to create ModelHaus. Model to model, Mac? Tell us about ModelHaus.
We started ModelHaus because there is not a lot of resources here in the Basin for girls to get into modeling or get into pageantry. One thing is we are not an agency. We do not claim to give girls work or give models work. That is not something that we do. We do not submit to castings, but we do train these models to go into the modeling industry with the right tools and the right understanding of the industry. Because if they go into an agency and they just submit by themselves, they're going to walk in there and they're going to get ripped apart.
Yeah.
But if we tell them, look, you got to work on your posing. You have to work on your walk. You're slouching your shoulders, roll your shoulders back, work on your facials. It will make a world of a difference.
Yeah, I'm going to probably be adjusting this whole time. I'm cognizant of my posture here.
Yeah.
You help with entering pageants and continuing on how to win pageants, but also modeling. Are they one and the same? I mean, what are the huge differences there, I guess?
Yeah, so modeling and pageantry is not the same at all, but they are very intertwined because of the different types of opportunities that they provide. So with pageantry, I know personally from experience, even at the Miss Texas USA pageant when I competed, a agency from New York was at the pageant scouting girls.
Wow.
And they interviewed each and every single girl. And so I got to talk to an agent from New York. And that was kind of one of the things that really set my mind off. And I was like, modeling and pageantry, it's intertwined. I could do it.
Getting into a pageant, you've been thinking about that since you were a kid. Modeling too, or did the pageantry
open your eyes to modeling?
Yeah, the pageantry really was the segue that kind of pushed me into modeling. I actually didn't get signed with an agency until this past December. So even though I started kind of late with the modeling, pageantry helped me in that way because, you can work on your walk, you can work on your facials, you can work on your stage presence, your confidence, and things like that. But I will say a pageant walk is very different from a model walk, so you have to be very careful which one you do.
Is a pageant walk slower? What's the difference?
Are you asking me? I don't know. How would I know?
A pageant walk, you are a little bit smoother. You kind of glide with it. The elegance. It doesn't necessarily have to be slow because you have the different types of walks, whether it's activewear, swimwear,
Gotcha.
evening gown, that kind of stuff. But with modeling, it's very fierce. And whether you are going for a wedding dress designer or you're working with Coco Chanel, you have to have a specific type of walk. And so with pageantry, it's a little more elegant. But with modeling, it's a little bit more edgy, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. When I would do runway, it was very you have to have attitude.
You did it once, right?
I did. Yeah. When I said model to model.
He wasn't joking.
Oh, I'm a model, guys.
You're going to clip in that picture of you, aren't you?
Yeah. Hey, add the picture of me modeling. Put it right here.
That's so bad.
Awesome. So yes, when I modeled, who's a super famous model with a beauty?
Cindy Crawford.
Boom. I was like Cindy Crawford, essentially.
Yeah, the lip gloss and everything.
Pretty sweet. I'll send it to you.
Yes. Please.
We'll frame it. No big deal. You can it can inspire to that. Whatever.
We'll autograph it.
Yeah. For sure. 100%.
We'll hang it in our studio someday.
Thank you. And be this is what you could.
You could be this.
Yes.
If you work hard enough.
Yes.
You told us how you entered a pageant, but overall, if you're a first timer and you're hey, I'm interested in entering a pageant. What is a typical way of entering?
So one thing that we suggest to a lot of our clients is we want them to do their research. There are several different pageant systems out there, whether you go into a more glitzy and glam, whether you want something that's a little more community service-based, scholarship-based. There's millions and millions of different pageant systems out there. And so we suggest our clients research, make sure that it's a system that they pair well with, that suits their ideals. Because if you don't want to wear a ton of makeup and you don't want to, walk around in a bikini, you don't have to.
Yeah.
I know there are definitely girls out there who, if they don't have a talent, They don't do talent pageants. Other girls do. They skip the interview.
Yeah.
If you are not strong suited in a specific category, then you can skip it with whatever system you choose.
Oh, so you'll know ahead of time what they're asking of you, and there's different niches of pageants?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm only familiar with obviously like Miss Universe, Miss USA, right?
Miss America.
Miss America. See, I would have thought they were the same thing. They're
not.
I also do know Mrs. Nevada because we went to high school together.
What's her name?
Shout out to Susie Palmer. Never gave me the time of day, but it's all it's all good, girl.
But we tight.
We were real tight. Susie Palmer. We're friends on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Mrs.
But I have
Nevada.
a question.
Hit me.
Okay, so if you had to do a pageant that did require a talent, what would you end up doing?
Oh, so this is actually real recent. I was supposed to do a pageant on Saturday that had a talent in it, and my mom was like, "Well, you better learn to dance." I said, "No, Mom, I'm going to paint on stage in under 2 minutes. I'm going to paint a bluebonnet."
Like Bob Ross?
Yeah, Bob Ross in it.
Nice.
Nice.
Just happy trees?
Yeah, yeah.
Happy blue bonnets.
Yeah, happy bluebonnets.
Okay.
I was like, it's for the Texas Cinderella pageant, and so I was like, I want to do something that represents Texas, and so it was also the fastest thing that I could paint in 2 minutes.
I would have been like,
how long?
Here's a smiley face.
2 minutes. You
2
get 2 minutes
minutes?
for your talent.
Oh, okay. See, if I was in a pageant, just saying, who knows, and it was a Texas-based pageant, I'd be like, hey, I'm about to smoke this brisket.
You can't do that in 2 minutes.
You can't?
You could eat the brisket.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat a brisket.
Just show a
Sandwich in
video
2
of you
minutes.
smoking the brisket and then eat the brisket on stage.
Yes, and then the judges will be like, this guy knows Texas. Okay, so going back to pageants, right? You said there's like hundreds, thousands, right? So how does one find these pageants?
You can come to people like me.
Okay.
Gladys and I, we know quite a bit about different systems. I've actually competed in a couple of different systems. Gladys is planning to compete in a couple of different systems. So we are definitely one of those people, or we're those people that we want to go through the things that we put our clients through. And so if we're not putting ourselves out there and going into different systems, how are we going to know what to teach our clients? And so one of the things is we want to make sure that they know what they're doing. But if you don't want to come to somebody like us, you can Google. There's all kinds of different things. Find a queen that's in that system and message them on Instagram or something. Because a lot of the queens are very helpful and they're very personable. They'll reach out to you. They'll talk to you. It's really good.
Yeah, I feel like you can't be a queen and not be a nice person.
Yeah, you're like super
You're like,
antisocial.
Screw off. Block.
Okay, so you keep using the word system. Can you explain how that works?
A system is the same thing as a organization. So we call them systems because a lot of them start at a local level. For example, the Miss Permian Basin USA pageant here that I did, it's now Miss West Texas. That was a local title, which pushed you on into the Miss Texas USA system or organization.
Oh, so okay, so it's like a funneling system. And
Yes.
Okay, so like if you win this, then you qualify for the.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Texas goes on to Miss USA. Miss USA goes on to Miss Universe.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
it all starts at a local level. Not all pageants have a local level, but many of them do.
What's the craziest pageant you've heard of?
Ooh.
One thing that I really recently, within the last couple of years, found out is they have male pageants.
Oh.
There are male pageants,
Here
yes.
we go.
Your
Here
dreams
we
are coming
go.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
so it's one of those things that it's really interesting because a lot of people think that pageantry is solely for women, and they're ever evolving. They are changing in so many ways.
More inclusive, you mean?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
being more inclusive. But with the male pageants, they definitely cater to guys looking fit and making sure that they are
I'm
good
out.
representatives.
Well,
As long as you're healthy.
crush my dreams. But you know what? I could probably do, if I did 50 or 60 crunches, that'd be good to go.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right.
I wonder, how they would, because, in pageants for women, there's, Miss and Mrs.
Yeah, so there's actually several different categories. Obviously, you can start at the very low level with it's like princess, baby, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You get to the teen, Miss. There's Ms., which is quite often women who have been divorced or who have never been married but are past the age for the Miss category. You also get into the Mrs., which are the women who are married. Those are the main ones.
But how do they, differentiate it for men?
Well, there's Mr., right? That's one.
Yeah.
And then there's probably dude. You know what I mean?
Old mister?
Let's say you're hitting 45. You know what I mean? This year. Are you in the senior round at that point? Like, is it like golf? Like what's the cutoff there? Because I'm asking for a friend, I guess.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I feel like I still got it. You know, get the blonde hair back.
No.
Mr. Permian Basin.
Senior Mr. Permian Basin.
How dare you? How dare you? Outside of how do I enter a pageant? How does a pageant get created?
Oh.
Like, who creates pageants?
So one of the things that's on our list is hopefully producing our own pageant. We would absolutely love to do that. But you can get in connections with a state director. A lot of times they will provide you with the resources to start a local pageant. Sometimes you can start at a state pageant. It just depends. But you really definitely have to have a good venue. Mm-hmm. You have to have the girls to do it. And you have to have somewhat of a background of knowledge of pageantry, because if you don't really know what's going on in a pageant, you can't really conduct a pageant.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
But you also have to understand that there are different divisions or different categories that they can compete in. Whether you want to keep a talent division, you want to do a fun fashion division, you want to do a casual wear, if you even want to do an evening gown. I know that the Miss America system, they went away with the swimsuit a long time ago. Yeah, that's when they ended up, losing a lot of people actually. And
weirdos, creeps. That's what they lost.
Yeah.
They actually right now they're re-implementing the activewear, which is one thing that the USA system. Little tidbit of information here: the USA system used to have the teens do a swimsuit round, and a lot of people were like, you have like 14-year-olds walking around in bikinis. That's not okay.
Yeah.
And so they switched it to athletic wear now, which I think is much more age appropriate, and it makes the girls like a little bit more confident because
like Lululemons or something.
Yeah, I mean, like whatever they want to wear.
Can anyone just start a pageant? And if so, how do you start it?
Yeah, I mean, anybody could create a pageant. I know that there is a lady here. She's doing the Miss Latina. West Texas. And so she started that pageant because she competed at one of the Ms. West Texas pageants. And after that, I think she just loved it, and she really wanted to bring a pageant catered toward the Latina community here. And so she started that, and it's actually been pretty popular for the last couple of years.
Nice.
I'm sure you're shocked. I've never been in a pageant. I've never even entered a pageant before.
I wouldn't have guessed.
What?
I'm surprised.
Yeah, leave that in. The pure shock. But if I was in a pageant, I feel like the interview's that's got to be the tough one, right? Like, how do you prepare your students too for an interview round?
Yeah, interview is one of the most daunting parts of a pageant. Not all pageants have an interview, but most of them do. And if you enter a pageant that has an interview, one of the biggest things is marketing yourself. You have to know how to sell yourself to the judges in an authentic way. Because if you are walking in there and you are just saying everything that you think the judges are wanting to hear, you're not.
They're going to see right through it.
Yeah. They're going to be like, this girl just recycled all of her answers. She regurgitated them.
Yeah.
That's
she
it.
She just watched somebody else on YouTube.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
You have to really tailor your answers to who you are. And one of the biggest things that we talk about with our students is you have to know yourself. And if you get an answer like, what's your favorite color? You can't just answer blue.
Yeah.
You have to say, well, my favorite color is blue because I play outside with my dog all the time and I love to look up at the sky. And it's just one of those things that reminds me of nature.
You just won. Where's the crown? Where's our best Midland Texas crown?
I should have brought my tiara.
Yeah. The other thing I started to read a little bit was like, having a platform, right? Like that's like, explain that a little bit. Like,
yeah, a platform is something that you stand for, whether it is you are looking to promote breast cancer awareness, or if you're doing March of Dimes babies. My platform is ModelHaus because I like to teach young girls how to be confident in themselves. It doesn't have to be a specific nonprofit. You don't have to, get into some of the more like sad,
or a major cause or something.
Right. You don't have to get into a major cause.
You have to go like, oh well, I'm here to save it's singularly. I'm here to save the rainforest, just myself.
Right.
I'm trying to do this. Okay. Or what I would think that traditionally in the past would be like, I have to say those things because that's what they want to hear type of thing, right? I want to end homelessness. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And another thing that I like to touch on, especially being in the social media world, is social media like etiquette and making sure that you are not online like being a fool, because that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand about social media.
Okay. Is that part of your training in your courses to go like, hey, let's talk about your Snapchat that you've been pumping out? Okay. That makes a lot of sense too, because especially in this day and age, like you'll get, I'll say, elected to an office or a new job or something like that. And the first thing people do go, yeah, I'm going to go back 8 years and see what you were talking about and make sure that that's aligned with what you're quote unquote talking about now. So from that perspective, I am retiring from pageantry at this moment. Please don't go back and look at my Twitter from
No, don't do
2012.
You should probably delete that.
It's already deleted, actually. So after edit, it's gone. Walk us through like what you would be telling your students about their social media. I'm curious.
If you don't want your grandma to see it, don't post it.
That's easy.
That's a big rule that I like to live by. But we try to make sure that our students are aware that social media is forever. You can't just, like, if you delete it, like, it's still out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody might have a screenshot of it. Somebody, it might be posted on a different website or something. So it's always going to be findable. If you don't want your grandma to see it, don't post it because that would make your grandma really upset. And, you don't want to act a fool on social media.
I'm like, hey, Grandma, stop following me. I'm like, why are you on Snapchat, Grandma? It's weird. How old are you? 30? No. Pretend I am one of your potential students, okay? All right. Hey, Mac, I want to enter a pageant coming up here in West Texas. Do you have any advice? I'm a first-timer. What advice can you give me? And we're in DMs, right? So it's not like, what advice can you give me? I want to enter a pageant for the first time.
Make sure it's something that you really want to do because it can be life-changing in a way. But also one of like the first like tangible steps is like reach out to the directors and make sure that, you have all your paperwork together. You're making sure you get like your headshot, get your dresses together. And if you want a coach, reach out to a coach because, with one of our clients, she has competed in 2 pageants and she's won both of them.
Wow.
And it was literally, I think, 2 weeks before her first pageant, and her mom texted us and was like, my daughter's doing this pageant. I want her to win. What do we need to do? And I said, let's set up 5 different sessions, 3 for walking, 2 for interview, because she is younger. So interview is not as heavy. And I was like, we need to work on these things. And if, you feel like you need a little bit of supplementation somewhere else, we can add a different session in there. But if you, are really wanting to win a pageant, find a coach. Find somebody who understands. And that's what I did when I competed for Miss Texas. I knew that my interview wasn't strong. And I knew that going into the judges' interview was going to be hard for me. And so I found my personal coach, which shout out to him because he coached Miss Universe, who just won, Arbany Gabriel. Yeah. So shout out to him. But we always try to, make sure that we understand what pageant they're going into. Because if they need some help with interview, we'll focus on that. If they need help with walking, we'll focus on that.
Okay, so let's talk about sort of like the perks of winning a pageant, right? So I'm assuming there's, typically some sort of like monetary, but outside of any sort of like monetary prizes, like what type of perks come with that? Not
only like monetary value is a big thing, but the opportunity to represent where you're from or the pageant that you're in is a big deal. You get to attend different events, you get to go to schools, and you get to be a role model for kids in your area. I know when I was Miss Permian Basin, one of my first events that I did was I went to an elementary school's field day. And that was one of the most fun things. I showed up in my leggings and my tennis shoes, but I had my crown and my sash on. And everybody went wild. They were like, there's a princess here.
I
She's
love it.
here. Like,
awesome.
she's doing tug of war with us. Like, you know, and it made them feel really good that I was on their level.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like I was this untouchable queen.
You're
that
just like,
yeah,
hello, peasants.
in a beautiful
Bow to your queen.
in a beautiful gown or anything. Like, I was literally playing tug of war. I was doing the egg toss and all of that fun stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the biggest things, I think, is being able to connect with people in your community, whether you're going to big fancy events or you're just going to a school that, you know, kids are at and you get to connect with
That's
them.
cool because you get to help them with their self-confidence and they see you perhaps and are like, oh, okay, like.
Well, there's that like whole aspect of like, oh, they're just like us. Like,
Right.
they're going out and doing pageants and modeling, but like at heart, they're like just like one of us.
Yeah. Can you tell us about the pageant that you want to create at all, or is it a secret?
This year, we are looking at doing a top model pageant where we'll incorporate that into our West Texas Fashion Week because by popular demand, everybody wants our West Texas Fashion Week to come back.
Ooh, tell us about West Texas Fashion Week.
Yeah, so we held our first West Texas Fashion Week last year, and it was huge success. We had 3 different days where we did a mixer. Then the next day we did a media day where we got to make content, take pictures, and then after that we held our actual fashion show. And we invited local boutiques to come out and to provide different pieces for us to put on the runway. And then we also had different sponsors that would set up booths around the runway so that people could shop while they're watching the fashion show.
Smart.
We really wanted to make it one of the things that really showed West Texas style because out here it's very different than anywhere else. And I feel like the local boutiques here don't have that stage. Like they can set up a booth, you know, at like a micro market or, you know, somewhere else. But we really wanted to showcase them. And that was the big thing for us. We didn't want to make it like, oh, this is a ModelHaus event and this is, you know, specifically for us. We wanted to make it about our models and about our boutiques because they deserve to have that showcase.
I love that.
Yeah, that's very cool. You can shop this look that you see on the runway, right? That's smart.
That's what I need because I'm like, I like this and I like this, but they don't go together. I need to shop a look.
Do you have dates lined up for West Texas Fashion Week, or are you still working out the details?
We are working out the details, but it'll be in the summer. Preferably, we're going to do it in June because I compete for Miss Texas in July. So we have to do it before then.
Where's that?
It'll be in Houston.
In Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to prepare for Miss Texas?
A lot.
Like walk us through that. Like, what's that type of preparation like?
So I do have my own interview coach. I am an interview coach, but I have an interview coach because even the best need coaching.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest thing for me is working on not only my interview, but also my fitness. With Miss Texas, you don't have to look a certain way and you don't have to have a certain size, but they want you to be healthy. And if you are not showing that you're putting in the effort to, you know, make healthy choices and be, you know, having a good active lifestyle, then it's going to show on the stage. And, you know, working from home, I, you know, sit around a lot. And so I want to make sure that I keep my blood flow going, get my heart pumping, go to the gym as often as I can, make smart eating choices, you know. But of course I have a slice of pizza every once in a while, you know.
It sounds like we're on the same page, really. A lot of
cardio.
eat healthy. Okay, this is what I preach all the time. Eat healthy. Get your blood flowing. Maybe hit that Peloton once or twice a quarter if you're lucky. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work, Mac. But listen, if you win, well worth it.
Yes.
Right? How far in advance do people know who is entering? Let's say Miss Texas, for example, right? How far in advance will people know who's entered?
They open registration for Miss Texas, for example, about a year in advance.
Oh, wow.
So I signed up literally like a month after they held last year's Miss Texas. But some local pageants will open registration a month before. You know, it really just depends on what pageant you're going into. But you won't know as a contestant who has entered unless you see it on social media, unless you are friends with somebody, or unless they release the headshots, the list of, all of the contestants. Okay. And that usually happens for Miss Texas, for example, about a month in advance.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why I was asking, I mean, obviously you announced that you're entering, so it's not like, you're under some sort of gag order. When I think of like a reality show, right? And it's like all the contestants can't say anything until it's live on television or whatever like that. So I was just wondering if it's kind of thing where like you can't talk about it because they don't want any sort of secrets out, but at the same time, I'd be like, don't you want this to be promoted? Right?
Yeah. So a big thing that a lot of pageants promote in that aspect is sponsorships. They want their contestants to gain sponsorships, whether they put them into ad spaces for the program book. Or whether they are, promoting different things around the community with their social media. I personally like to use my social media as a big tool. I like to think I'm an influencer, but I only have like 2,000 followers. So
hey,
you're beating me.
Influencer.
Yeah. So I try to promote, whoever is my sponsor as much as I can, as well as providing different things. Sometimes some girls will put them on their T-shirts that they wear to registration day, or they'll put them on their like their luggage or their evening gown bags or something like that. So if you can put an ad anywhere, usually pageant girls will find it.
Huh.
All right. It's like lawyers. Nice. Bus stop benches, whatever, wherever there's eyeballs.
Yes.
Do you feel like having a large following gives you an advantage in that? And I'll say pageantry and modeling.
In modeling, yes. Your following and your connections makes a huge world of a difference, because if you can connect with a photographer from New York who really wants to shoot with you, that if you have that following, if you have that connection, it'll be a lot easier for them to find you. That's how I found a lot of the photographers that I connected with, is just purely through social media. But with pageantry, it's a little bit trickier because you don't necessarily have to have a huge following to win.
Right.
But a lot of the girls who do have a huge following have more eyes on her. And so if you have a judge who knows that they're going to be judging, the judges are looking at your social media prior to the pageant. And
this is why I asked how far in advance, because I'm sitting there going like, do pageant judges, are they the same judges every single time type of thing? Or like, are they on a circuit or something? Or
pageant judges, I think they judge many different pageants.
Sure.
But there's never going to be the same set of judges at the same pageant. You will always have a different set. Whether it might be somebody who was a judge like 6 years ago, that's a different story.
Got it.
But you're never going to have the same panel.
Okay.
And so, but those judges, they're going to look at your social media beforehand. And I know with the Miss Texas International pageant, they highly encouraged the judges to look at social media. They said, hop on their social media pages, figure out what they're doing. Are they in the community? Are they posting wholesome content? Are they
do a deep dive?
Yeah, are they being good representatives? Because if they're not, then obviously that's going to put them on your radar to, kind of stay away from.
Again, as a young woman who wants to get into modeling, like, what's your best advice for finding a credible, reputable modeling agency versus, getting scammed or something like that, or worse?
Yeah.
Big red flag, which is it's number one. If they ask you for money up front, scam immediately.
Okay.
Leave, run away, go somewhere else, because a modeling agency will never ask you for money up front. And if they do, they're scamming you.
There's a difference between a modeling agency and a modeling training or coaching or something like that. If it's coaching and training, of course they're going to ask for money because it's a service. What you're saying is if it's an agency and they're asking you for money and they're saying basically, oh, you pay us and we're going to get you work.
Or you pay us and we're going to make sure you're in this magazine.
Then that's a red flag.
Yes. Very big red flag.
Okay.
Yeah. Agencies typically charge a 20% agency fee off of any type of work that you get. But if you are, a freelance model and you book a casting by yourself, all that money is yours. But that's the difference between a modeling agency is an agency has those connections to get you more castings. They can put you into different things. They have the eyes where it could be that you're not looking as a freelance model. And so with a agency, yes, they're going to take their cut, but they're never going to say, well, you have to pay us $3,000 and then we'll put you on our website.
And then we'll get a cut.
And then we'll maybe
Okay.
distribute your.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's in their best interest to get you work because that's how they. That's the actual model is to get a business model.
Because they don't get paid unless you get paid.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, there's freelance models. There's a lot of freelance photographers. Like, and just in terms of like again, red flags, safety types of things. Like just making sure you're safe when you're deciding you get approached by a freelance photographer.
One of our biggest things is never go to a photo shoot or a casting alone. Always take somebody with you, whether it's your boyfriend, your mom, your best friend. It's really easy for photographers to prey on freelance models, especially because they don't have those safeguards in place. Whereas, some agencies will, block out castings that have nudity or alcohol or, any drug paraphernalia or anything like that. As a freelance model, if a photographer approaches you and says, hey, I really want to shoot with you, okay, cool. Is it cool if I bring my friend? And if they say no, run. I like to suggest that models always ask for a photo release contract so that if it's not in the contract, you have that protection. A lot of photographers will offer a model release and they say, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing with your photos. This is what's happening in our shoot. And, I need your consent to release these photos. A lot of times photographers use it for social media. They use it for promotion.
Right.
Or they just want to get more experience in that type of photography. But I always suggest that models make sure that there's some type of contract in place, even if, they are really good friends with that photographer, because if you don't know what that is laid out to be, it can be sent to, some inappropriate websites. It can be sent to, somewhere else that you are not confident having it there. Especially if you are a public figure and you do try to, make yourself unknown. It's definitely one of those things that I suggest having a contract.
The modeling community within each city is not enormous unless, you're like in New York or something. But, like, if you have a bad experience with somebody, like, make it known. Tell your friends. Like, don't let this guy
and that's one
person take your photo.
Yeah, that's one thing with the West Texas community is that the models here and the girls who are coming into the modeling industry, it, like you said, it is not a big community. But it has exploded over the last few years. Because I remember when I was in high school, there was not very many collabs. There was not as many, small businesses and photographers and models and things like that. And so now we're going into making sure that, if you do have a bad experience, you're sharing that and you're saying, look, this person did this to me and I'm not okay with it and you shouldn't be either.
Yeah.
And because so many models are friends, like Gladys and I, we're friends with multiple models.
Yeah.
And even if it's not shared on social media, they're going to tell somebody. It's going to be shared. And with Gladys and I, we like to make sure that it's known if there is a, bad apple out there.
Yeah.
And we're saying, hey, if you get contacted by this person, you probably shouldn't work with them.
Yeah.
That's great. As a model, a published model, what are your feelings on social media or short form video being the highest or anything? Like, do you feel like photos get pushed down in the algorithm, or what is your take there?
Oh, definitely. Photos are kind of dying off, which actually the head of Instagram just came out and he was like, we intentionally pushed Reels and it's kind of sucking for us. And so he said that they are pushing photos back into, their algorithm because people are like, we get videos on TikTok. We get videos, short form video on YouTube. With Instagram, people want to see pictures. Photographers are taking pictures for a reason. And, while videos are great and having the, different Reels and the different TikToks, it's not the only thing that people want to focus on. And if you take a bomb picture and you can't do anything with it except for make a reel out of it, it sucks. It's hard. Yeah. And, you know, especially if you're not getting the engagement that you want on the picture, you know, putting it in a reel, it's like, if I put it as a picture, it's only going to get like 100 likes. But if I put it in a reel, it's going to get like 4,000 likes. And that's a difference. And I think that for creators, you know, whether it's your photographer or a model or whatever, it's going to be really hard if everybody just goes straight to video.
Yeah.
I think it's super hard for agencies these days, social media marketing agencies these days, because it was a lot easier to have have 50 clients and schedule all of these social media posts weeks or months in advance with photos, right? You can't necessarily do that with TikToks. As a social media marketer as an agency for certain clients, like, do you feel like the video is harder, the reels and the TikToks are harder to make for your clients?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very hard because, you know, my agency is based out of Houston. A lot of the clients that we deal with are based in and around Houston, in the area of Houston. So, you know, being in West Texas, traveling wherever I'm going, I can't be at their location. Right. I have to rely on them to take the video, to, you know, make the TikTok or whatever. And really, it's really hard because I can only give them so many ideas. They know their stuff, but they don't know how to put it on a video. And so it's really hard to mesh those things together for me to say, hey, I need a video of you doing this and saying this, whereas they don't know how to actually take that video.
Right.
Yeah.
Going back to ModelHaus, like, can you tell us, like, do you have anything, events coming up, or talk to us about how people can get started with ModelHaus?
Yeah, so we have newly released memberships. So you can sign up for a 3-month membership, a 6-month membership, or a 12-month membership. And each different tier has different things that you can get involved in, whether it's fashion shows, you can get a professional photo shoot, comp cards, things like that will help aid you in your modeling journey.
Nice.
For our pageant girls, we do have mix and match sessions. We can do 5 sessions, 3 sessions. We can do individual sessions if you're not really sure you want to commit to 5. And we also have 2-hour-long sessions that we can get girls doing hair and makeup. We can work on their walks. We can do wardrobe, help them pick out their wardrobe, because if they're not really sure what they want to wear for their pageant, we can help them there too.
Nice.
So we have a lot of different options. Whether you're a model, whether you're a pageant girl, you can kind of play with the different options we have and make it your own.
What are your top 3 don'ts in 2023 in terms of pageant wardrobe and styling?
No big ball gowns. Less hair and makeup, nothing super heavy or big, and no more platform stiletto shoes.
Those are 3. Don't do those things this year. Those are out. Those trends are gone. One last thing. Can we do, like, is it possible that you could maybe teach Tara and I, like, you know, just a certain look, just looking into the camera, like, what's a good, like, model look? Fierce.
Have you ever heard of Tyra Banks' smize?
Smize?
The smize.
Yeah. Smile with your eyes.
Smile with your eyes.
Smile with your eyes.
So, like, you kind of feel like a good emotion like on the inside. That's the number one thing with facials. Okay. You have to have a good emotion.
Okay.
And if you are feeling fierce, you're going to kind of put your mouth together and smile with your eyes. You know, whether you're lifting your eyebrows a little bit, you're kind of opening your eyelids, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so walk us through it. Tara, you can go ahead and go first.
I have Botox. I can't lift.
You don't have to lift your eyebrows. I just have really expressive eyebrows.
Same, girl.
Lucky.
Same. I mean, okay, so maybe just walk me through it. So I'm going to look into the camera.
Okay.
You prep me, okay? So, like, tell me what to do, how to get the camera's over there.
Okay.
You tell me what I should do first.
Okay, so yeah. Don't purse your lips that hard
okay.
because,
Don't do that.
dear,
Got it.
no.
Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just kind of close your mouth softly and then just like look up and smile with your eyes.
Smile with, okay, here
Yeah.
I go. Here I go. Ready?
Ready? Yeah. That's perfect. You're a natural.
Thanks.
Don't tell him.
Comment below. What do you think about that model look? Maybe we'll name it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll name it the Mac. And that was like 15 seconds. Imagine if you booked an entire session, right? The Magic Mac. There you are. Nailed it. Mackynlie, we really appreciate you being on the podcast today and giving us the tips and helping me with my looks. And if you are looking to get into pageantry or you're looking to become a model and you're in the West Texas area, look up ModelHaus, look up Mackynlie, look up Gladys, and they can help you out.
Yeah.
Help you become a winner. No, thanks again for being here.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. And hey, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.